I saw a team that's ready, man. They're organized, they're energized, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot of people who are working with Nina Turner in the city. There are a lot of people from the city. I saw negative ads. I saw the first ad I saw was an attack ad on a billboard. But the reality on the ground is people rock with Nina Turner. Go ahead.
Ben, what was the attack ad? Was it, one of those?
The Joe Biden comment.
Okay, right. I mean, I'm concerned about that.
Wait a second. All right. So wait a second. Let's back up just a little bit. Tell us, this is a primary for the 11th runoff. And it is a runoff because who went into the Biden administration?
You got the name on. I had her name earlier today, but she's he did move the last congresswoman to a secretary position in his cabinet.
Right. It was Marsha Fudge. Sorry.
Fudge. Thank you, Fudge.
And so Turner is facing, and there's been sort of, I think, like an unprecedented amount of establishment attention to this race.
Yes.
Who is she running? It's Chantel Brown is her primary challenger. Yep. Give us just a little bit of background there. And then when you talk about this, what Biden said in the negative ad, just give us a sense of what that is.
Yeah. So the lay of the land is this. It is a Democratic establishment versus the progressive movement classic matchup. Chantel Brown, the Democratic Party chair for the Cuyahoga County versus Nina Turner. And the game that's being played, Emma, you're saying like you're concerned about that particular one. When I was downtown in the Cleveland Public Square, right there by Euclid and Superior, I ran into a bus driver, and I asked him about his route so that I could ask him about Nina Turner, and the first thing that he brought up, Emma, was that particular ad. Here's the thing, he didn't care. He was like, we know we got to keep our eye on Joe Biden. And I think that's what the establishment doesn't realize. Cleveland is a hell of a black city. And black folks know we got to keep a left eye open on these Democrats because, we were with the Republican Party at one point. And for our survival instinct, we left. And so if the Democrats believe that they can scare black people into being loyal to Joe Biden, they're out of their damn minds, because that's not how Cleveland operates.
So give us a sense of what was that? What specifically was in the ad?
It's the ad about, and I keep forgetting what rating this show is, but it's the ad about choosing between a bowl of shit, basically. But having to decide between Donald Trump and Joe Biden in the 2020 election, she referred to it as having to eat a bowl of shit. And that's right. That's exactly what the hell the election was. And folks know that. And I talked to a lot of people on the ground. Ohio is still Ohio. Hillary Clinton doesn't have any friends in Ohio. So this establishment push that they're trying to use this loyalty to the Democratic Party, and they're questioning her blackness because of Joe. Like, how do they actually, because it's worked in the past. It's worked in the past because you have some districts that this can play well in. But Cleveland is an urban district. It's majority black. And like I said, like the politics, one sister, I wish I had this clip for you. There was a woman, a black woman from a local party, and she was like, she gets upset with Nina Turner because of how bold she is, and she knows as black people, we just can't get away with that, as evidenced by the kind of attacks that she's suffering. But she's like, you got to understand though, Nina is from Cleveland. She don't take no shit. So I'm like, when I'm listening to the people, I'm like, wait a minute, this is completely what I thought it would be. But the absurdity of those attacks shows a level of desperation, because they really need to be able to divide the black vote along the lines of loyalty to the Democratic establishment. But we're well past that as a people.
Well, you said, right, like that Hillary Clinton doesn't have any friends in Ohio. She's got one friend, it's Chantel Brown, right? And there's this almost poeticism of the fact that all of these 2016 Clinton acolytes, including Clinton herself, are endorsing Nina Turner's opponent, and you have AOC and Bernie coming and holding rallies for her. And I think there's an especially, you can confirm or deny this based on what you've learned being on the ground there. I think there's an urgency that we didn't see in some of these other races because whoever wins this seat will be in office for quite a long time, barring any redistricting, because it's such a blue seat. Do you think that that's it too?
No, I think, well, yes. Yes, in that they feared that position falling into the hands of someone who's progressive. Yes. So no, actually, I take that note back. No, you're right.
What are the other dynamics that are at play in this race? I mean, they're attempting to split the black vote.
Let me tell you, workers, the white workers. I'm wearing a Ohio State hoodie right now, and I didn't go to Ohio State. I went to Bethune-Cookman University, but I met some Irish dudes who were like, we rock with Nina Turner because she rocks with workers. So there are white folks up there, and they're working class, and they're Irish. They're just from different. They have a different cut of their jib. You know what I mean? Like there is. I met a guy, and I'll say it quickly as I can. I met a historian there it's funny, they don't have Confederate monuments. They have monuments to the Union soldiers. It was so refreshing. And as he was giving me the history of it, and he was talking about slavery, he was talking about the racism, he was talking about Jim Crow, he was talking about all these things, and then he told me he voted for Donald Trump. I said, how the hell did you vote for Donald Trump? And clearly after 2 hours of conversation, I didn't pick up any racism until he told me he voted for Donald Trump. He said, because I don't like Clinton. And I'm like, well, the end of the world is here because you don't like Clinton, but at least that bodes well in terms of the sentiment towards this race for the 11th congressional district.
Right. Well, all right. So, yeah, that's true. That's interesting dynamic. So that there may be as much of not as much, but on the margins, we could see a decent amount of where Clinton could actually hurt, is what you're saying?
Absolutely. Listen, I think one thing that is not popularized is the amount that black folks don't like the Clintons. Cleveland is a black city.
That's fascinating because that is not the way that Bill Clinton came onto the scene. But
Well, we got sucker punched by him, but we know better.
Right? Like, I mean, Ohio is fertile ground for Clinton hatred given the economic situation there.
Yep. And that's exactly what I ran into. Both from the persuasion of the guy who gave me the hoodie. He's a Bernie Sanders supporter, but then also from the other side of the aisle of a guy who was like, anti-Confederacy. He's anti-racism, anti-Jim Crow, but somehow he hated Hillary Clinton enough to vote for Donald Trump. I think they may overestimate the efficacy of a Clinton endorsement at this juncture.
Did you get a sense of like what, every campaign has a number in which they're convinced that they will win. If we drive out the winning number of votes we need are X, which, they derive from voters. Did you get a sense of that? I mean,
that's a great question. I didn't ask that question, Sam, and that's going to be what's their win number? That's a question I'm going to start asking every time, but I didn't get that answer. But obviously, there was a level of concern amongst not the staffers, but like just general conversation amongst the people who want Nita to win about turnout in general because it's a special election. They are concerned about turnout.
Yeah, I was going to ask on what their sense is about turnout. Theoretically, right? That should be advantage Turner. I mean, presumably,
yes.
Presumably, someone who is more activist oriented can bring out votes in a primary. Thus, we see folks like Jamal Bowman, we see AOC. I mean, that's been the strategy. Cori Bush. I mean, that is the strategy, right? It's to go into these very blue districts and turn those blue districts because you can expend money there and you don't have to expend the money on the general election, which is more expensive. Are there institutions in there? Justice Democrats in there? Who's in there?
I saw Democracy for America pulled up on Thursday. I'm trying to think of a couple of organizations, but there were several organizations that were there. Democracy for America is the first one that comes to mind.
Is Justice Democrats? Was there a lot of? Are they playing hard in this?
I can't say. I didn't see them, but there were so many activities over the weekend. I didn't get to them all.
Okay. And we should say, I mean, she is on their list, on their homepage of like the one of 4 races that they are, keyed into. So it'll be interesting to get that. And it's going to have a big implication. Big implication, both in terms of, you're going to have one more vote in there, the squad is going to hopefully be able to push legislation, but she's also a very strong voice, and she's going to be in a safe district.
I mean, geez, knock on wood.
Good stuff.
Knock on wood, yeah.
Folks, there's more of what you've just saw where that came from. That's if you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you. Really, thank you.